Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to have a look at the Easthills Outdoor Hammock Kit. This is the Jungle Explorer Separate. Now the separate means that you have the hammock, which is the Jungle Explorer hammock. The bug net is a separate device. It's not like their earlier Jungle Explorer where the bug net was attached to it. This is a completely separate device, kind of following in the footsteps of a few companies we know out there that are offering that setup. They also offer with it a tarp. The hammock itself is 10 feet long by 6.5 feet wide. It's massive and very comfortable. It is roomy as can be. You can fit 2 people in there, but I wouldn't sleep 2 people in there. The bug net is an 11-foot one, so it'll fit on up to 11-foot hammocks, possibly even on a 12-foot hammock with a ridgeline. So the bug net can be moved around and used elsewhere. The tarp is 9 foot 10 inches wide by 9 foot 10 inches long, which is basically a 10 by 10 tarp. Everything is included in here to put yourself out there in the wild or the backyard or the park or wherever you want to go and hang it up and hang. And you're ready to camp. Just add a sleep system and you're all ready to go. That's all you're going to need. The weight on this thing weighs in is a pretty whopping 4.5 pounds, but that includes like everything. Okay, that's the entire system. So 4.5 pounds seems like a lot, but when you consider the fact that you've got everything here, not too bad. Let's get this thing out here in the back. We'll have a look at it, and then we'll come back in and we'll talk about it. And there you have the hammock and the bug net all set up together. It's a nice looking unit, very nice looking. The bug netting is a very high quality, no seam material. And I do like the material very much. It's got a nice stretch in the right areas. And here we have the hammock without the bug net. The material used is a 210T taffeta material. Very durable material. It's been around a long time. A lot of hammocks are made with this. A lot of people have hung in this kind of material. It's got a sheen to it, kind of a shine to it. I've always liked that shine to this material. All right, let's get up close and personal this thing and have a good look at what it's made of. All right, let's start having a look at this thing and how the build quality is. Start with the tree huggers. Notice one thing about them. These people tend to like to make these things match the hammock. I've got another hammock that's got it's an orange-based hammock, and these are orange. I've seen the green one where these are green. And this here is the khaki type color and what have you, which is kind of cool. Most companies don't do that kind of thing. As you can see, it's the triple stitched. Build quality is really good on these things. I mean, these things are amazing how strong these things are. We get down here, we've gotten away from, on this continuous loop down here, they've gotten away from using that big heavy rope that they were using. That it looked like a beehive when they get done with it, and the carabiner was buried in it. And they're using the same kind of thing as the tree huggers here, okay? Pretty much the same thing. And the tree hugger things, and these are basically like seatbelts in your automobile. Got a real nice high quality carabiner here on both ends. So we get down in here to the material. Everything is triple stitched. Well done. A few frayed ends as far as the sewing is concerned, but nothing structural. And basically, I've pulled on each of these ones I've seen. There's about 3 or 4 here. They're all basically, when you have the sewing machine and you get done to the end of a run, they pull it up and they cut it. Well, they didn't cut these things close enough. But that nothing structural at all in any way, shape, or form. And again, remember, these are economy budget type hammocks. Well sewn all the way through, triple stitch, and the stitching is dead on straight. It's not wobbly or anything. Same with in here. They've hemmed this over, and they've hemmed this over here, triple stitched it. Look at that stitching, it's straight all the way, and there are no hanging ends or frayed ends on any of this on both sides, and I've looked this thing over real good. Now, I told you how big this thing was. thing is 6.5 feet wide. Now you can see here there's a ridgeline that I've added to it just to see how much comfort there is in it. Here's a stuff sack. Again, you can see where it started, come around at the end of there. They didn't cut that close enough, and that's basically all that is. Stuff sack has, instead of just being a slotted bottom and stuff, it's a little bit wider. It makes it a little easier to put this large hammock down inside. Of course, got drawstrings, cord locks. And the sewing here seems to be pretty good because I've been using this for a few days. And none of these are coming apart. So many of these I've dealt with where they start to come apart right away. Let's deploy the bug net here. Let's have a look at easy to put that up. And you can slide it off when you're not using it during the daytime, giving you a nice wide open hammock. And here, where it comes around the end of the hammock and cinches up, it is a very nice material. Water treated on the inside here, not sure why, but possibly if you have water running down this line here. And it could just be that that's the material they used. Cinches up pretty nice, as you can see. Cinches up tight so little buggers aren't going to get in there on you. All the way across the top, all the way around the lower. It's not just material sewn together. They have actually put material over and hemmed over it, so you get some nice strength there. Now here's something I did notice about this, and I've noticed this on the higher quality stuff in the past. If you take this material, see it stretches? The nice thing about that is when you're in this thing, you know you're going to be leaning into it a lot, especially when it gets to widen the thing and you're sitting at an angle in here, lying at an angle, you're going to be pushing on it. It's got give all the way down, so you're going to have a lot of give. However, horizontally, there is no give at all. So all the give is where you need it. As you widen the thing out, the hammock out, it's going to push against it and cause it to move on you. Over here and look at this stuff. Now I take this bag, which is hanging on the bottom. I wish they would take this thing and take these bags and hang them maybe 2/3 of the way up. That way they don't drag, because it's dragged against the ground is here and gives another path for the bugs to come up on. I like to take them, roll it up, somewhat put it in here, and cinch it. That'll keep it from getting on the ground. Let's have a look at this zipper. Not the highest quality zipper, but it's a good quality zipper, and I don't have any trouble with it. It slides very smoothly. Incredibly smoothly. Being vertical like this, it gives you the front door effect as opposed to the horizontals. The horizontal gives you an effect where you can open it up and you can reach on out from anywhere, but getting in and out can be a bit of a hassle because you can get yourself fouled on the material coming in and out. So this thing here, I found it a little easier to get in and out, but not quite as easy to reach down to your side of your hammock if you got a little table down there and you want to do like Shug does and make your breakfast in bed. But I like this. This is nice. It works out very well. Across the top we've got, this is elastic, so it has some give. As you can see, it slips on and locks in place. Easy to come off, but it doesn't fall off on its own. You've got to take it off. Sewing on this is very good. And it's solid all the way across. I've pulled on every one of these because these are some of the weak points of a lot of these things, is where this stuff is sewn. And I pulled on this quite hard all the way down the line here. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them now. And I've pulled on all of them. Pulled on them, tugged on them hard. And they work just fine. They're not going to give at all. There is a surprise inside. Something I have never seen on a bug net like this. And that is, got a built-in 2-pouch organizer. can't call it a ridgeline organizer because it's not really on the ridgeline. But you get a 2-pocket organizer. Now I put my phone in it. Got in here last night, had my phone in there, and it does sag a little here, but not a big issue. Not a big issue at all. That's the bug net. And the sweet thing about this thing is if the weather is in this high 60s or 70s and all, you're not going to want to put anything underneath you. You don't want a underquilt under there. You want to just sleep in the hammock and be cool. If you're in that kind of temperature and you don't have and you just have the bug net on the top, which is attached to the upper end, bugs can bite right through. And I've seen a few people who have complained in their reviews of hammocks like these where they were bitten on the backside at night, and so it's not bug proof. Well, you know, the thing is very thin. That material is very, very thin. It is only a 210D nylon, and while it's durable and sturdy, it's just vulnerable to bugs biting through it. With this here, you don't have to have your underquilt underneath there as protection, because that's what we do with them. We'll stick the underquilt under the type that has the exposed hammock on the bottom side, and that keeps the bugs away from you. But this here, you don't have to do that. You've got a bug net that's going to do that. This bug net is sealed all the way around. There is no big opening here in the bottom. No opening at all. Not the type you crawl up in it, and you know, you could have something sneak in there with you. All in all, I like the bug net. I've got a couple of them that have the horizontal ones, and I like that too. I like this one here. I really don't have a preference. I always thought I'd like the horizontal one better, but now that I've got this here, getting in and out was a lot easier than the horizontal type one. So, you know, a little of this, a little of that, I guess. And a bit of a postscript here. I forgot to focus on this here. This is a line, it's a ridge line for the bug net. I've got mine attached right here, and you can do the same thing if you'd like. And the only reason I did it because the tree's on the way for getting to the pole over there. You generally would hook it to your, tie it up to your tree, run it right up to the tree. In this case, it's a pole. Let's pretend it's a tree. It used to be. And then you can adjust it the way you want for the height. Get it up, bring it down until you get just to the right height. If you look down there, I've got about, probably 6 inches off the ground, which is just about right, because when I get in it, it still stays off the ground, because this will sag a little bit. Just wanted to add that in there. As I was looking through the proofs on this, I noticed that I had forgotten to mention that thing. Okay, now speaking of underquilts, yes, you can put an underquilt on these things. All you need to do is open it up, drop the underquilt in here, come up to the end here, click, attach it up here, do the same on the other end, then make your adjustments. I'm using my Ridge Outdoor underquilt here, Ridge Outdoor Gear underquilt, and it fits quite nicely. The company that makes this particular hammock setup, Easthills has what looks to be a very nice underquilt. Tried to convince them to send one along so I could use theirs in this sampling, but it was not to be, I guess. But I think the one that they have will probably fit just as well as this one does. It fits quite nicely, very easy to hook up. It's a little bit longer than without the netting on there, but not bad at all. You do have to adjust it, so you'll have to get it in and dial it into your particular needs. But it does fit an underquilt. And before I take this thing down, this is, you slip it right on out through the thing. You can, I did it with the thing cinched up, but I just opened it up to have a look at it, and it just clips onto the ends there. Well, as you can see on the inside, there's a lot of room in here. This thing is very, very roomy. This is a 10-foot hammock. It is a long ways up there to that end of the hammock. I generally prefer an 11-foot hammock, but with one this wide, I don't think I need anything bigger than this. This is fine. 11-footer would probably be too much hammock. If you look at the bug netting up there, it stays quite well off of me. The weight of the bug net underneath keeps it pulled taut, so it's not like a regular hammock that has the bug net attached to it. This thing here, bug net's basic weight is underneath, so it keeps it stretched and pulled away from you. Very nice. And there's the little organizer. It's in the middle of the hammock, so you do have to kind of reach. It doesn't slide anywhere, but you know, how could you make it slide in a bug net? You just can't. It's a nice addition, though. I'm kind of happy to see it there. All right, let's have a look at this tarp. This tarp is 9 foot 10 inches long by 9 foot 10 inches wide. It's a square. I've got it set up in the conventional A-frame type setup, and I've also got it set in a porch mode over there, and I'll get on the other side and show you that shortly. But it's set up this way just for a basic reason. The website shows it in the diamond configuration, which would probably give you more coverage. But I did want to show that, as you can see right here, this is the edge of the tarp, and it does just encompass the hammock. Now, do keep in mind, I do have the ridgeline I put into this hammock, and that ridgeline is at 98.5 inches, which is 83% of the full length of the hammock. And again, you can see it just covers it. If you've got a deluge coming down, you want this side, you want the sides to come down and give you as much coverage as you can, but it is important right there to keep that section dry. Of course, you would lower the hammock, or the tarp rather, and get it close to the ground as you possibly can. But I wanted to show you that it would fit this way. Now, let's show you the makeup of this thing. It's basically a sil nylon type tarp. It has a border which totally encompasses it. It has 3 pull-outs on each of the sides and 2 up in the center up there at the ridge line. It is seam sealed. It is seam sealed just along the area where the 2 come together. There is no more seam sealing on any of the other locations of it. Not that it's really needed. The pull-outs are secured fairly well. They're sewn here, and they're sewn here. I would like to have seen it maybe sewn again through here, but it has been reinforced underneath. Let's look at the ridgeline area, and you can see it's been reinforced here, and you get 2 of these sewn in like so. The third one would have been nice, but I don't think there's going to be an issue with this thing. It's going to stay together well. The sewing on it is very good. The hemming on this is very, very good. Right here, where's my thumb at? There we are. Right here is the only place that I saw, again, start and finish. That's the only place I saw any frays. They do need to learn to cut these things a little bit closer. I mean, it's not going to affect it or anything, but it's just one of those things that they should be doing. The tarp comes in a stuff sack, pretty much the same as what you saw on the hammock, although it is separate from the hammock. It does have the round bottom to make it easier to stuff it in. The stakes come in their own little stuff sack. And this is the stakes. They've changed from the original stakes that they had before, which were the kind of the Y-shaped shapes, the 3 sides that poked into the ground, to this aluminum stake here. They gave you 4 of these. These would be something that I would definitely be tossing and picking up a good set of stakes for it. But again, when you're talking about economy and trying to keep the prices down, and in today's market, prices are climbing like crazy, and these guys have kept things under control. All right, let's go inside and let's give your final thoughts on this whole thing. There it is, guys. Easthills Outdoors, Jungle Explorer, separate. Got to get the separate in there. Nice hammock, really is. It's a nice setup. Buying a kit like this where you get everything in one package, reasonably priced. Price of this thing hovers right around $70, give or take, and that's for everything. Okay, that's for everything here. You hang it, add your sleep system, and you're ready to go. If you're new to the hammock business, hammock game, and you're not sure if it's what you want to do, this is probably a good way to start. If you're a person on a budget, there are a lot of guys out there who just know they like it, but they're on a budget, really can't afford to buy everything, and pieces especially, because that all adds up quickly. This would be another good way to start. This particular one will probably be used more by friends of mine when we go camping that are trying hammocking for the first time, or maybe have had an experience that wasn't quite as good as they would like it to be. I will probably put them in this thing here because this is so comfortable that they can't help but love this stuff. If they don't love sleeping in this thing, they're just not meant for hammocking. I mean, there's just some people that aren't. So maybe that would be the case there. But I want them to have a good experience, and this would be a great way to start. It's almost a perfect kit for the price. A couple things three things actually in particular that I would like to change. I would like to see changed. And one is that stuff sack on the bug net. I'd like to see it moved up a little bit. I've seen other people who have made these bug nets that have them moved up a bit and it's not dragging on the ground. I like that. Although I tie it up and it usually stays off the ground, but it would be nice to do it the other way. The stakes, toss them. Just toss them. You get some real good stakes. These stakes here on it, you know, they're fine. Maybe for, once or twice you might be okay with them, but the first time you hit a rock or something hard, they're going to bend. I wish they would go back to the stakes they offered in the Skyloft. So that's another point. And the last point, and this is just a nitpick type thing, and that is when they finish cutting threading the thing, they cut the thread. I'd like to cut them a little closer, but you know, I don't mind going in there with a pair of small scissors and clipping the stuff off. I did that with the Skyloft, and it took me about 4 or 5 minutes to get everything all cleaned up. So you know, I don't mind that. I mean, consider the price. You're buying something that is supposed to be a budget item. There's going to be a few things it's going to need. And quite frankly, if that's all this is going to need, I'm tickled to death with it, because most budget items have some major problems. There are no major problems with this thing. This thing is fine just the way it is. Anyhow, guys, I will leave links down below for this directly, as well as their storefront, so you can go and look at what else they've got available down there. Take a look at that underquilt. I'm still going to see if I can't coax them into sending an underquilt over here for me to look at for you guys, but you know, we'll have to see what happens with that. Anyhow, I want to thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I'll be seeing you soon. Bye now.